Right. Good evening. Hope y'all are doing very, very beautifully today. I trust that you all are. Today, the topic is you cannot change what you feel separate from. This is about changing reality. We often have situations in our life that we look at them and we want to suppress them. We want to run from them. We want to change them. We do not like these situations and we want to push them away. And by pushing things away, by attempting to push things away, what we're actually doing is we're magnetizing those things to us. So this conversation is, it's inspired by a client, okay, that I just finished working with. He wanted me to share this, so decided to make a video because I feel like this is something that is very normal to all of us, and this actually deals with people as well. So let me make sure that I'm live on everything, and then we'll get started. Okay, cool. So the title, of course, is You Cannot Change What You Feel Separate From. You are God and you are not separate from anything. Okay, so I'm going to read the client letter. I want y'all to see if anything stands out because, of course, something stood out to me very, very quickly when I saw it. Okay? And we had a good discussion and everything has changed since this conversation. Okay? So I've been trying to apply what I've learned about manifestation. There's this woman I'm really interested in, and it feels like she doesn't even notice me. Okay, I've been visualizing, staying positive, and working on embodying confidence, but nothing seems to shift. It's starting to feel discouraging, like maybe I'm just not on her radar at all. Am I missing something energetically? I'd really like your insight on how to create a reality where she sees me and we actually connect. Okay, what is interesting about this is that the one challenge that I give to a lot of men is the bar challenge, right? It is going to the bar and declaring that a woman will come up to you and buy a drink. So this person took that and went down their own path. There's somebody that they work with that they want to approach them. And so they say specifically, right, there's this woman I'm really interested in and it feels like she doesn't even notice me. Okay, that part should stand out immediately. It feels like she doesn't notice me. So what I always say, man, you can do the affirmations, you can visualize, but it is about who you are being. So what stood out in this is that even though you're visualizing her approaching you, you're visualizing her asking you out, you're visualizing all these things, the story that you're telling about it, it feels like she doesn't even notice me. A much more healthy story for you to tell is, I just have not noticed her noticing me yet. She's been noticing me, but for some reason, I just keep missing it. Huh? Now, what actually happened is she did approach him later on, and the conversation went something along the lines of it's obvious that we like each other, so we actually should talk. Right. But what is important about this is we have to start changing our story. Whenever there's anything outside of us that we want, we have to start seeing it as part of us, as unraveling from within us, because that's where it originates from. You are the source. You're not going out in reality trying to change things. You are actually remembering that you are not separate from anything. And so when we start making these stories that we're separate from something, what we're doing is we're creating this time in between that thing that we want and us. We're creating distance, we're creating space, and thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be, right? So the moment that I'm creating space in my story, reality has to reflect that. So even though I'm visualizing and I'm affirming that this person is in my life and they love me and they want me and they're approaching me, yada, yada, if in my mind, if the story that I'm still telling separate is that they're not noticing me, it feels like they're not noticing me. It feels like I've been doing this for so long. What I'm doing is I'm creating space. So this is why we have to be mindful of the story that we tell. The affirmations are great. The visualizations are great, but do them from a place of remembering who you are, remembering that you are God. You are not separate from anything. You are the source. It is a divine miracle that you're able to walk through this creation and you're able to encounter all these things that you've created. Right? The heartbreak, you created that. The empty bank account, you created that. The overflow of money, you created that. Right? The divine partnership, you created that as well. The moment that you begin looking at these things for the miracle that they are and embracing them, not pushing them away because you don't like them, but embracing them and saying, okay, I created this. If I created something I don't like, I can just as easily create something I do like. And just by stepping in that perspective and looking at everything for the miracle that it is, what do we always say? You're automatically not going to resonate with things you don't like anymore. Because things you do not like are just projections of you. Everything is within you. There's nothing out there. There's nothing out there. This is why when we start to feel separate from things, we begin to shrink to the size of the circumstance. We forget that we are the universe. We start walking through life and we see something that we don't really like. And we react negatively to it. Because we don't like it, it has a vibration. If we react like we don't like it, we forget that it's still just the perfect unfolding to what we want, and we label it from our human perspective. We come out of our God state and we shrink into our human perspective. We shrink to the level of the circumstance. We start to think that this is separate. We think the illusion is real. All right? And so we respond in a negative way. Now, all of a sudden, we've magnetized ourselves to that thing, and we have to get more of it. But when you look at it as a miracle, I created this, I'll just choose differently. Now you don't even respond in the same vibration as this thing. It has no choice but to fall out of your life. This is the beauty of walking around like a child. Walking around, you have to be like children to enter the kingdom of heaven. This is what it means, right? This is one of the beauties of walking around and seeing everything as the divine miracle that it is. Okay? You created it all, so you can change it all. It's all you. You're not separate from anything. But the moment that we feel separate from things, all right, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, we see this big, bad, quote unquote, negative thing in our life. And we shrink to the level of that thing. And we start to push against it or suppress it or turn away. We don't want to look at it. Why not? Why don't you want to look at it? You created it. You created it. You can look at it for the miracle that it is. It's a miracle that I'm able to create this, and it's going to be a miracle when I create something different. Remove yourself from the drama of the illusion. It's very frustrating to go out there and try to change things in physical reality, isn't it? It's frustrating to try to fight against circumstances. It's like the more you fight, the more you get. The more you push against reality, the more reality gives you that same thing over and over and over again. That's why so many people just have this realization. It's like, damn, the less I do, the more I get. Just fighting against something, trying to prove that you're worthy, right? Fighting against this thing is just magnetizing it more towards you. You're responding exactly the way that it wants you to respond to stay in your life. Rise above reality. Reality is you. Stop seeing yourself separate from it. Look at it in awe as the miracle that it is. And rise above the drama. Okay? You're not here to react to the mirror. You don't go to the mirror and look at the shirt you don't like and get upset at the mirror and demand that the mirror changes the shirt. No, you just walk back and you know that you can change the shirt, and that changes the image you see in the mirror. This is the same way that you should walk through reality. What is reality presenting to me today? What do I like? What don't I like? You walk through life and you encounter that divine mirror, the divine menu. Because everything you see is a menu, item, right? It's telling you, do you want more or do you want something different? And so when you remove yourself, when you walk as God through life, when you walk in your divinity through life, you look at everything as what it is, a product of my consciousness. This reality is the canvas that my consciousness is painting on. There's nothing to hate. There's nothing to push against. It's all divine. If I don't like it, I'm just remembering who I am incorrectly. If I do not like something and I'm reacting negatively, I'm remembering who I am incorrectly. I think that I'm smaller than the situation. I forgot that I created it. And just as easy as you created that, you can create something different. Okay, rise above those circumstances, all right? So this is all gonna pertain to this client email, Okay? There's this woman he was really interested in. Doesn't feel like she's noticing him. So he's already created the story of separation right there. Right? I don't feel like she noticed me. Huh? You're making yourself smaller than the situation. You're forgetting your divinity. You're forgetting that you're creating it. You forget that you're going through life, and the story that you tell about every situation goes out in the future to confront you later. It's not that she doesn't notice you. It's just that you've missed it every time she has noticed you. Completely different story. She's noticing me, I'm just not seeing it. And once you change that story, boom, like clockwork, a week later, now they're going out. Okay? And that was the point of this, especially for men. When I tell you, man, you can decree a thing. You can declare that she's gonna ask you out. You can declare she is going to get you a drink. And that you do not see yourself as separate from that person. And then you continue to monitor the story that you're telling as you're going through life. And you'll start seeing that everything is a byproduct of your consciousness. Okay? And there's nothing big, there's nothing small. It's all God. If God can create all of this, surely God can give you a little prosperity. God can give you a little date. God can bring one woman to you to buy you a drink, surely. Okay? So you are not separate, all right? Manifesting from the unity of the God within. So we're going to try to break this down in a very different way. Okay, yesterday we did a different way. Today we're going to do a different way. We're going to keep giving it to you from different angles, right? Till you find out the angle that you like. And once you find that, stick with it, right? When it clicks, it clicks. And that's the point, right? Because you deserve the life that you want. You deserve the money. You deserve the love. You deserve the relationships. You deserve the cars. You deserve wherever you want to live. You deserve the life that you want. God didn't place these desires in your mind to tease you. The desires of your heart are not to tease you. They are sacred promises. The moment that you start looking at them as such and walking through life, remembering who you are, the world will bend to you. Okay? So, all right, before we begin, I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to drop into yourself. Okay? So this is not going to be a lesson for your intellect. This is going to be a remembrance for your soul. All right? So, quote from Neville Goddard. You are already that which you seek. You are already that which you seek. The only thing that is keeping you away from the things that you want is that you refuse to believe that you are that already. When we talk about the law of assumption, we need to understand what an assumption is. An assumption is not work. If you go into your visualizations or you go into your affirmations and you believe you have to work to get something, I have to work to make myself feel worthy. You are worthy just from the mere knowing that you are worthy. If you understand that God is within you, because you are God, because God is made manifest in you, there is nothing that you can do to be worthy. Worthiness is not a feeling. It's just a knowing. It's who you are. Whether you feel good or bad, you are worthy. Let's talk about feeling, because we often confuse what it means when he says feeling is the secret. Because a lot of spiritual teachers say that, right? Feeling is the secret. What does this mean? We should know from common sense that feeling does not mean your emotions. It does not mean if you walk around feeling good, you will get everything that you want, because that would mean that everybody who walks around feeling good should have everything that they want. But that's obviously not the case. Okay? Feeling is just a manifestation of who you think you are right now. It's a manifestation of your thoughts and your beliefs at the moment. But your thoughts can change. Your feelings can change. All these beliefs can change. But who do you embody? Who are you actually being? That is going to determine what you get. Okay? And when we talk about being, we're not talking about effort. It is merely an assumption. The only thing keeping you from the things that you want is you believe you have to work to be worthy to get them, instead of assuming that these things are already within you and that your reality is just being outpictured from within you. So when you give this thing to yourself, not with effort, not by visualizing and trying to make something happen, but by visualizing in fun, not by doing affirmations and trying to make yourself feel something, but by just affirming, by just assuming. The less work, the better. This is very counterintuitive for most of us, because we've always been taught that it's the more work, the better. Right? You had to work for your parents' approval. You had to work to get good grades. You had to work to get the raise at job. You had to work to tithe at church. We've been taught that to be worthy requires work. And now this is the most counterintuitive thing that you can do. It's to relax in yourself. It's to be still and know that I am God. And what is I am? I am is your awareness. Okay? It is your awareness. Now, we chase outcomes. We chase validation. We chase love. We chase wealth. And we even chase, can I trust everything's all right? All right, we chase outcomes, validations, love, wealth, and even God as if we are apart from them. This is one of the biggest illusions in this world, is the illusion of separation. What's up, what's up? It's the illusion of separation. Okay, but the deepest, I just said it, the deepest illusion is this separation. And as long as we believe we are separate from the life we desire, we block it from ever fully arriving. As we continue to look out in the world and believe that the world is separate from us, to believe that that person that's doing us wrong is separate, to believe that that money that we want is separate, we forget that we are the source. We call God source. You are God. God is within you, so you are the source. This is why one of the most beautiful things that you can do when it comes to visualizing, if you want to attract a lot of money, is remind yourself that you are the source by imagining yourself giving away a lot of money. Imagine yourself giving away a lot of money in a loving way. Dang, it's a lot of money out there, man. Imagine yourself giving away a lot of money in a loving way. There's nothing to hold on to because you are the source. You are the one who generates the abundance. Okay? So the illusion of otherness, why you can't change what you feel separate from. All right, when you see something as outside of you, what you do is you assign it power over you. Now let's really break this down. Okay? Everyone is you pushed out. What does this mean? All right. The kingdom of God is within you. What does this mean? Okay? Everything is God. Every person that you see, the phone that you're holding, the thoughts that you have of your past, the thoughts you have of your future, the history books, everything that you read about, everything is God. And we all know that the kingdom is within you. And if everything is the kingdom of God, that means that everything is within you. And then it is just being outpictured outside of you. Okay? So when scripture says, verily, verily, I say unto you, whatsoever you ask in the Father's name shall be given to you. Whatever you ask in the Father's name shall be given to you. We understand that what is God's name? I am. I am that I am. So anytime somebody asks you who you are, what are you, or you declare yourself to be something, you are using the Lord's name. So when you say I am prosperity, you are saying God is prosperity. When you are saying that I am a victim to this other person, I can't do that anymore because they've done me wrong. I have to be a shell of myself. That's what you are doing. You are using the Lord's name in vain because you are subconscious, you are unconsciously calling yourself a victim to someone else. Okay? When you see something as outside of you, you assign it power over you. If I believe I have to change because this person did something, if I believe that this circumstance has control over me because I'm looking at it as separate than myself, I have forgotten the miracle in which I walk in. I have forgot who I am. I'm remembering myself incorrectly. I'm remembering myself as a victim, but the divine in me could never be a victim. So now I'm using the Most High's name in vain. I'm using the God within me's name in vain. I'm using my own name in vain. Okay? So when you see something that's outside of you, you assign it power over you. You become the victim of circumstance, the seeker of something already seated within. And whenever we're seeing things as separate and outside of us, we start to shrink to that thing. All right, this is why it says, I am God. Thou shalt have no other gods besides me. I am the one and only God. I am is everything. Okay? I am everything. You shall have no other gods besides me. Meaning everything is within you. You should not look at anything as outside of you. Okay? So here's a quote from Reality Transurfing. The world is a mirror reflecting not what you want, but what you are. When we look at things, it's not so much what that thing is, what that circumstance is. It's more about who we are when we see it. The way that you are, who you are being, okay? How you see the world, how you approach circumstances. It's always going to tell you about yourself. It's going to tell you about your faith. Your life is a report card. It's the metaphor that I always use, is that your life is a report card and everything is giving you feedback on who you are being. Your bank account is a reflection of you. The type of relationships that you enter is a reflection of you. The things you tolerate in life is a reflection of you. Every single moment is an affirmation of who you are. Who are you being? It's one thing to sit and do affirmations for an hour, but who are you being for the other 23 hours in the day? When a circumstance shows up, okay, and it does not look favorable, you've been praying for prosperity, but this looks opposite. Who are you? Are you the person who drops into your humanity? Okay, you forget that you are everything. You forget that this is a miracle. You forget that because you've already given it to yourself, it is a promise. And you begin to look at things from a human perspective and you start to judge things. Because this is what humans do. We have shows just about judging people. We have 3 different news stations that tell the same story from a different narrative because we like to judge. Everything is unfolding perfectly for you. It does not matter what it looks like. But whatever you judge it, because thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be, whatever you judge it, you are actually creating reality. Reality is not outside of you. Reality is a story that you're telling about everything that you see. Okay, when you see something and it looks opposite of you, do you say the God within me is perfect, so this situation must be perfect? It's just giving me an opportunity to choose differently. I understand that this is the perfect stepping stone to what I want. There's no good, there's no bad. Those are human constructs. God doesn't see things in good or bad. These are just things that we do to make ourselves feel good as we start to look at the Creator like this. But creation just creates. Creation doesn't care what you decide is good and bad. Creation just creates. Reality is not testing you. It's not putting you anything. It is just the perfect mirror. Everything is working out for you. The only way that you can stop that is by judging something like it's not working out for you. It's by dropping your level of consciousness, forgetting who you are for that moment and saying, it's just not working out anymore. Well, you're right. Because whatever you declare, right? Thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be. Whatever you ask in the Father's name, whatever you say that you are, and because everything else is coming from within you, whatever you say anything is, shall be given to you. Because that person is you. That situation is you. It is all you. There's nothing separate from you. Okay? So when we start thinking that things are separate from us, when we forget that everything is coming from within us, you see, it's very difficult to change things because we begin to feel like victims to circumstance, victims to things outside of us. When you're never a victim, it's all just a divine miracle pointing you back to yourself. Okay? No, it's not what I do for a living. It's not what I do for a living. It's just it's just something that I enjoy doing. So I enjoy talking about these things. Because I remember how lost I was before I learned about these things. So, you can help a couple people have a life that they want. One thing that I've realized about helping, and hopefully this helps somebody to tell them, is that we think of helping and just the same way we think of spreading prosperity, we think of it in a very linear way. So let's say that you have $5 and you give $5 to someone who needs it. Then they spend that $5. Where does that $5 go from there? We think that we just help that one person, but that money continues to spread. It goes to the next hand, to the next hand, to the next hand. You help someone who needs to buy their food. You help someone who is struggling to pay their rent. It just continues to go and spread divinity. The same thing with information, right? You tell one person something and it clicks. Then they tell someone else and it clicks. And then they tell someone else and it clicks. Then they tell their child and it clicks, right? And then we pass away. And that knowledge continues to help the world. right? Indefinitely. So we do have a duty when we're spreading things to try to spread it with truth. And one of the reasons why I also jumped into this, because I see how important it is to control our beliefs. And what you'll see right now is, because we live in a connected age, is a lot of people are consuming beliefs that might not help their reality. That's why I always use the example of, if you think all men ain't shit, if that's the story that you tell, if you think all women ain't shit, then every single eye outside of you turns to you and proves that right. It is about your expectation. The story that you tell is reality. Okay, the things that you encounter are not about the things outside of you, they're about who you are. So if I believe all women ain't shit, it's not about women, it's about me. If you believe all men ain't shit, it's not about men, it's about you. Okay? The story that you tell, the expectations that you have about the world will always be given back to you perfectly, because the world is this perfect mirror. So the more that we can take back control of our thoughts, right, and we can start to understand that everything is just a projection of me, we can come back to our divinity. Well, you just live in a more harmonious world if that's the message that's being spread. Okay, but I appreciate that comment. Okay, so the world is a mirror reflecting not what you want, but what you are. Okay, to manifest is not to force something into being, but to recognize what already is. Everything already exists. You're not changing anything. You can't change the changeless. God is changeless. That's one of the things about the divine. The divine is constant and changing. Reality, anything that changes, your thoughts, your feelings, the circumstances, they cannot be God, because God does not change. Okay? So we're never changing things. Reality is solid. It's already done. You're just choosing a different character to embody in the midst of the I am that I am. I am is the Alpha. I am is the Omega. I am that I am. You are God made manifest. And whatever the that is whatever you choose to be. Whatever you ask in the Father's name. So I am is the Father's name. Whatever you declare the that to be, that is the character that you embody, and reality morphs to it. All right? Reality morphs to it. So the idea of other anything, other people, other sources, other powers, that is the barrier. Right? There's no other power outside of the one. There's only one single power. How you want to believe things happen, how you want to allow that power to flow through your life is up to you. If you want to believe that there's 18 different powers and there's this devilish power that is breaking you down, if you want to believe that, that's fine. And all of those things make up your reality. But once you start to believe that everything, or once you start to come into the knowing that everything is from you and you are source, you can have whatever you want. Or you can have whatever you want. You cannot change what you disown. Okay? You cannot change what you deny or what you place outside of you. Love it all. Love it all. It is all a miracle. Embrace it all. Face it all. And then just choose differently. Just by embracing it all and looking at it all as a miracle, anything that you don't like, if you don't react to it, you can't get more. It fades away. It's only there in this moment, and then it drops out and it's replaced by something more in alignment to what you want. If you only saw everything as a miracle, the good, the quote unquote bad, then you would start to attract nothing but miracles in your life. Okay? So you must become it. Okay? You must merge with the frequency of what you desire, not as an effort, but as a remembrance. Okay? This is the whole statement. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Okay? So number 2 is awareness, the projector of reality. Reality is not solid. Okay? It is not fixed. It is fluid. It is molded by the quality of your awareness. What is consciousness? You are a conscious being in the midst of infinite consciousness. You are within God and God is within you. You are in your own creation, assuming the role of one individual perspective of everything that you are. Okay, this is the most beautiful game. You've created everything that could ever exist, and you have come down here to experience it in a linear timeline so you can just savor and appreciate and love the unfolding of everything that you are Everything that you are. It's all fulfillment. It's all love. It's all a miracle. It's the most miraculous game ever. Okay? And you get to walk through it. Okay? But this reality is molded by your consciousness. So what is the purpose of consciousness? The purpose of consciousness is to be conscious of something. And since there's absolutely nothing outside of you, the only purpose of your consciousness is to be conscious of who you are being. When you start to be conscious of things outside of you, thinking that those things are separate from you, now you shrink to the level of that thing, you remove yourself from your divinity. Okay, hopefully that clicks. When we start looking at things as separate than us, we shrink to the level of that thing. We remove ourselves from our divinity, and we cannot change things that we believe that we're separate from. Okay? So your awareness is the film, and consciousness is the projector. Okay, what you hold in the theater of your mind becomes the scene in the theater of your life. Not because you work harder, but because you see clearer. When we talk about imagining, visualizing, affirming, it's not about work. You don't have to feel worthy. Worthiness is not a feeling. It is simply an assumption. Okay, this is what the law of assumption is based on. This is why Neville Goddard even uses the word mere. When he talks about assumption, he talks about it's just a mere assumption that you are already what you want to be. You are already what you want to be. Just an assumption. You can make an assumption right now. It doesn't take, it's not conjuring up a feeling. Conjuring up a feeling changes. A feeling can change with the weather. It can get gloomy outside and all of a sudden you feel a little down. That does not impact your assumption. Your assumption is that everything works out. Your assumption is that you already are that which you want to be. And you drop any thought of working to be worthy. You completely drop it and you assume that you already are that. No matter how you feel, no matter what you eat, no matter if you work out today or not, you already are worthy. You already are in alignment with what you want. This is how you get in alignment. This is literally the path of least resistance. When these spiritual teachers are talking about things like this, right? The path of least resistance. This is the path. The path of least resistance is literally exactly what it sounds like. It's the path of least resistance, of least effort, of assuming that right now, no matter what, no matter how I feel, no matter what I'm thinking, okay, no matter what I'm doing, I am worthy. I'm in alignment with those things. And guess what? I am, because thou shalt decree a thing and that shall be. Okay? Just by working to feel like I have to prove myself worthy, because God is already within you and you are worthy, just by working to be worthy, you are giving off the impression that you're not worthy. You're unconsciously communicating that you're not worthy. But you are worthy. You could never not be worthy. You are unlimited worthiness, unlimited love. You are unlimited everything. Okay? Appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. All right, this is why integration is more powerful than chasing. If you chase abundance, it implies you are not abundant. What is chasing? We think chasing means, going out and working hard. You can do that. Sure, you can go out and working hard. What chasing means, I want you to think about it like this. Trying to conjure up a feeling of abundance. There's no feeling of abundance. It's simply just an assumption that right now you are abundant. It's simply an assumption that everything I've created in my life is a miracle. Even this lack is a miracle. Now I'm just going to switch characters. I'm not going to respond to the lack. I'm going to say everything is working out for me. I'm going to assume right now that I'm abundant. I don't really have to feel different. I have to think different. I have to tell different stories. That is what it is. Chasing abundance, chasing a feeling. Do you truly believe that you could maintain a single feeling for the rest of your life? Truly. Do you feel like you could right now pull up a feeling of happiness and challenge yourself? How long could you keep it? It's not a feeling. There's no feeling of abundance. There's no feeling of worthiness. There's no feeling of love even. Love is just it's just chemicals. Now, I'm not saying it's not good to feel good. You should embrace the times that you feel good. But just understand that when you're feeling bad, doesn't mean you're out of alignment of anything. It's about the story. This is why when we start trying to push against things, how can I keep the feeling of the wish fulfilled? What is the feeling of the wish fulfilled to you? If you believe that the feeling of the wish fulfilled is a good feeling, a happy feeling, and you think that a negative feeling isn't, what you're going to do is you're going to start naturally trying to suppress your negative feelings. When you feel bad or out, you're going to start thinking, oh, I'm not worthy. I have to run away from my emotions. And this just causes all kinds of harm to yourself mentally, to your relationships, all those things. You are worthy no matter what. You couldn't be anything but worthy. This is what it means when it says you already are that which you want to be. The only thing that's keeping you from it is that you believe you aren't. This is the only thing that is keeping you from the things that you want, is that you believe that you are not it already. You are already it. You're already in alignment with abundance. You already are abundant. You couldn't even think or desire something that you weren't in alignment with. Let's really break this down. Some people want to be doctors, some don't. You wouldn't even want to be a doctor if you were out of alignment with it. Some want to be astronauts, some don't. Some want to be millionaires, some don't. Some want to be billionaires, some don't. Some want to live in seclusion, some want to live in the city, some want to go to the club, some want to go to the live music event. You can't even want it if you're not in alignment with it, y'all. Right? So we have to strip the programming that teaches us that we're not worthy. How could you work to be what you already are? You already are God. You already are a goddess. How could you work to be something that you already are? Okay, you're already in alignment with all of these things. It's just a mere assumption. The assumption is turned on like this: I am abundant. I no longer resonate with broke shit. That's it. You're in alignment. You've made the assumption. And now you remember that everything around you is this miracle that you've created. And because you've created it, you can change it. This is your power. Step into your power. Do not be sucked into the external world circumstances. Don't shrink to the external world. Remain in your divinity. Keep that spiritual backbone. Don't suppress anything. Don't run from it. Accept it. Look at it. Love it as your creation. Right? Now, you know what I'm saying? Just give it away. You don't want that child anymore. You want to choose a different one. Right? But that's all you're doing is you're choosing. You're not changing or pushing away anything. This is just one moment of infinite moments, of infinite possibilities. And if you don't like it, you just choose differently. It's just offering you the menu. The moment that you desire something, you already have it. The path to get there has already been created. And now you're walking down that path moment to moment, revealing it. This is the point of the game. Is that the Most High created everything, every possibility. Creation is done. And you descended into matter, wrapped yourself in flesh and bones and blood to go through time and remember who you are. And so the moment that you have it, the moment that you desire it, you have it. The moment that you ask for anything, the answer is yes. The moment that you say, I am prosperous, the answer is yes. The moment that you say, I am a victim, the answer is yes. The moment you say, this circumstance, I can't get out of it. I feel like she doesn't notice me, the answer is yes. The moment you say, I know she's been noticing me, I just haven't seen it yet. But she's going to show me any second now. The answer is yes. Whatever you ask for, whatever you ask in the Father's name being I am, the answer is yes. Because nothing is outside of you. Everything is within you. Everything is I am. Okay? Everything is I am. All right. So integration versus chasing. Okay, manifestation as inner union. Chasing is the path of the disconnected. Integration is the return to self. I just integrate abundance within me. That's all. I just see everything for what it is now. I see this matrix, I see this construct for what it is. It's all me, and I love it because I created it. I love everything about it. There's certain things that I want differently, and all I do is I still love it. But I don't react negatively to something that I see as negative, because if I reacted negatively to a negative thing, that will put us in alignment. I will get more of it. So I look at everything as the miracle that it is. Everyone is God. The woman that cheats on you, she's God too. Okay? The situation that doesn't look good is God as well. But it's all just a byproduct of the God within you. The kingdom is within you. So seek ye first the kingdom, and then all things will be added unto you. Seek ye first to give it to yourself. The kingdom is everything. The kingdom of God is everything. Everything that you can imagine, good or bad, is the kingdom. Seek it within yourself, and it shall be added to you. And then don't waver. Walk through life like the God that you are, and refuse to react. Refuse to accept the breadcrumbs. Refuse to accept anything but the real deal. Okay? Chasing is rooted in lack. It assumes the thing you seek is over there. Integration begins with the inner knowing. I am that. I am already whole. I am already aligned. I am already loved. There's nowhere to go. There's things I could do, but there's nothing to do. There's no work to do. I just simply need to assume. And the path is perfectly laid out. And from moment to moment, I walk that divine path to be reunited with the things that I love. Look at the things that you desire with love in your imagination and allow them to be added unto you. Okay? So dare to believe in the reality of your assumption and watch the world play its part relative to its fulfillment. This is what we were talking about yesterday, right? If you've ever had that trip on that thing, that DM, I'll put a space between the last letter, is T, you might have the vision of all the eyeballs. This represents reality. Every single thing, every single circumstance, every single person, they're not real. There's nothing outside of you. They're all being projected from within you. But you can think of them as the all-seeing eye. The all-seeing eye represents God always watching you. So all of these things outside of you represent the all-seeing eye because they're all looking at you and saying, who are you being? What is the story you're telling? What are your beliefs? And then they reflect them perfectly back at you in a moment. Okay, this is the representation of that eye. Okay, so everybody has to play their part. The moment that you assume prosperity, everybody has to play that part to prove to you that you're right. The moment that you assume lack, everybody has to play that role to prove that you're right. It's like they're all looking at you, you make a decision, and they say, okay, cool, boom, let's go to it. Let's get to it. The moment you say, oh, women ain't shit, everybody is looking at you, and they say, okay, boom, let's get to it. You already know this, though. Let's be logical about this, okay? Because we can drop into logic as well. We don't have to stay on the spiritual perspective. We have to be balanced, right? We all know that one woman could meet 5 different men, and all 5 of those men get a completely different version of that woman. We all know that one man could meet 5 different women, and all 5 of those women get a completely different version of that man. Why? Huh? We know certain people that have terrible luck with women. Some, they don't struggle with women at all. And it ain't even all about looks. Okay, it's about their demeanor. It's about who they are. Okay, what is the story that you're telling yourself about these situations? Do you just chalk it up to luck? It's blind coincidence? You think that's how the universe operates and it's just blind coincidence and luck? Or do you start looking at the patterns in your life as synchronicities, trying to bring you closer to the divinity within yourself? Trying to teach you a lesson about what you're believing? Trying to show you over and over again, these are your beliefs. This is what you're creating. Do better, do different. Okay? Start looking at everything in your life as a synchronicity. The same way that you look at these numbers popping up on your screen is the same way you should be looking at situations that show up multiple times. Why do you keep getting cheated on? Do you identify as someone who gets cheated on? Why do you continuously end up behind on the bills? Do you identify as this is the way reality is? Okay. Start to understand that you are the source. You are the alpha. You are the omega. You are the cause and the effect, the beginning and the end. You cannot separate God from you. God is within you. You can't separate the Most High from you. Right? It doesn't matter what you believe. You can't separate God from you. Okay. So true manifestation is not summoning power. It's not summoning power. You're not pulling things to you. You're giving them to yourself and then being outpictured from within you. Okay? It is surrendering to your already existing oneness with it. You already are everything. You're already an infinite being. And you live in infinite realities at once. And the reality that you're in right now is just a byproduct of what you've been choosing. Okay? So the success you chase, it must be felt now. It just must be assumed right now. That's all. It's just an assumption. The peace you seek, it is you. It is you. Okay? So the God within, the only source of fulfillment and power. Why do we seek validation from others? Why are we trained to seek validation from others, to always look outside of us for something? Why do we ache when we're not seen, not chosen, and not affirmed? Because we forgot the source. We've forgotten it, right? God is not a being you pray to. God is the being you are. Every word is a prayer. Every thought is a prayer. Every intention is a prayer. Every action is a prayer. Everything that you do is a prayer. Whatever you ask in the Father's name, God is within you. The God did not create you simply as an ego trip to worship him. And if you don't worship well enough, he's going to punish you for eternity. Right? God came down here to experience life through you, to give you these promises, to give you these desires in your heart, and to live out those things through you. Right? But when we separate from the divine and we drop here, we forget who we are. And then we try to seek that oneness with everything outside of us. We seek God in our work. We seek God in our partners. Right? We say we want someone to complete us. We want something to make us feel whole and purposeful. But nothing can ever do that. Nothing outside of you can ever make you feel whole. Never. There's nothing outside of you that will ever make you feel whole. It doesn't matter how much money you get. If you had every single desire that you wanted, you would not feel whole. The only thing that can make you feel whole is remembering that God is within you. It is remembering that you never were separate, that this is an illusion. Okay? And then when you understand that, all these other things are added unto you. They're just added on top of you. Okay? So I am is the only power. Okay? There is no God outside of him. All right? The moment you believe fulfillment is external, okay, you exile yourself from your divinity. You hand your keys to the world and wonder why your life doesn't move. Right? I've had clients that, they have this problem. It's like, I've manifest so many things, but the fulfillment in life, I don't have it. And that's what I'm trying to do. And it always comes back to the same thing, right? It's understanding that you are the fulfillment. It's that nothing can give you fulfillment. You are God experiencing its own creation through you. This body that you have is your tool to experience God. And everything is fulfillment. Everything is a miracle. The good, the bad, it's all fulfillment. You have a thought of lack, belief of lack, a belief of how money works. And all of a sudden, there was a miracle that was created from within you that led you down the path of just experiencing lack. And then all of a sudden, you switch your mind to prosperity and you automatically go down a path that just leads to more and more prosperity. Both of them are fulfillment. Both of them are you experiencing yourself as God. We just tend to label one as good, one as bad. We drop into our humanity and we forget that it's all a miracle. We live in the midst of a miracle and still ask for signs. You live in a planet where there are just random ass green things growing out the ground, sprouting with different colors. There's animals just jumping up and flying around. There's airplanes with people just jammed in it, flying across the way. It's all a miracle. What more of a sign do you need? Okay, and all of this is created by you. There's only one fulfillment. There's only one belief. There's only one thought, and it is infinite consciousness. It is God. Even if you think about the things that you want, if you really want to get the things that you want, right? One of the other ways that I'll teach, right? And I know I give all these different things to do, but I really want y'all to focus on just finding the one that resonates with you and taking that and using it. Because you really only need one thing. It just so happens that I like a lot of information. But if you think about the things that you want, whether it's money, car, whether it's that love, that relationship, right? If you take away the thing that you want, if you just take away that thing, if you just have the feeling of that thing, of having it, it doesn't matter what that thing is. The only reason that you feel good is because on a soul level, energetically, you feel like God is flowing through you. You feel like you're being seen and heard, and something is giving you something. The same way that when you don't have something, where you don't receive what you want, if you take away that actual thing and you think about the feeling from a soul level, you just are putting up a block and you're not feeling the most high flow through you. It's not that it isn't, because it always is, whether you believe it or not, right? It is that you have put up a block now and you don't feel that energy flowing through you, but it's always there. The moment we open up our awareness to, man, this constant presence is always within me, everything is a miracle, this is the moment that we can begin to feel more fulfilled in our life. And this is the moment that we can start to actually look at everything for what it is. It's divine. And then we can start playing the game of choosing, right? We transcend the emotional games, right? Some of the spiritual teachers, they'll talk about the emotional things, and you want to stay in a high emotional state, and your emotional guidance system, you transcend that when you start to believe everything is a miracle. Your feelings are just feelings. Your feelings are just filtering your thoughts and what you see in the moment. Okay? But the knowing that you are God transcends all of that. The knowing that you are God, the knowing that you are creating everything, it transcends any feeling. The feelings are fleeting. They come and go. You just appreciate them and enjoy them when they're here. If I feel good, it feels good. I appreciate it. If I feel bad, I know it's going to pass. And I give myself the time to grieve whatever is going on. I allow myself to feel whatever. I'm not fighting against my emotions because they're just temporary things. Anything temporary is not the divine. Every single moment is just another picture. Okay, it's another picture, but these moments are going by so fast, it looks like motion, the same way that you look at a TV. 60 frames a second, 24 frames a second. It's just 24 pictures per second, and they snap so fast that it looks like there's this moving image. This is what life is that every moment is changing. You don't see reality as what reality is. You see reality for who you are. Two different people can be in the same building. One sees beauty and the other complains about it. Which one saw reality correctly? One just sees the cracks in the walls, and the other one sees the beauty of someone that has been able to keep a home for X amount of time. Two completely different realities, the same place. Reality is not about what you see out there. It's about who you are. The most beautiful people that you know, how do they see the world? They see the world in all of its beauty. They're the ones who can enjoy a walk. Right? There's some people that go to a restaurant and all they do is complain. There's some people that go to a restaurant and they just love the ambiance. They take pictures. They enjoy the moment. They have great conversations. They compliment the waitresses. They give a big tip. They talk to the chef. They do same place. Completely different reality. There's some people that walk out and they'll give compliments to strangers. They'll have a conversation with, someone that's older than them. They'll get some wisdom. They'll drop some gems. They'll turn everywhere they go into a divine opportunity to get closer to the God within them that is being outpictured in everything. If you started interacting with life as if it was just God being outpictured from within you, how would you look at life differently? Would you really start seeing the miracle that is around you? It is when we forget that all of this is God and all of it is being created by us. We just walk around ignoring the beauty in the world. You can walk outside right now, go to a trail and see flowers of all kinds of colors. Beauty everywhere. Right? You can walk in the store and see two hard-working parents working through the budget to make sure that they provide their child with the food that they need. Tell me that's not beautiful, man. Tell me that is not beautiful. Right? But when we only just confine ourselves to our bubble and we're walking around, I'm late. Damn, I wish these people would hurry up. Whether you're in the grocery store checking out and you don't understand that person that's checking you out, they have a story as well. They have a beautiful story. And just a kind word to them could change their life. I want y'all to think about how energy flows. The example that I always give is you go to a drive-thru and you ask for a coffee, and let's say that the cashier spills the coffee on you. Then you snap on them. Okay? Then they turn around and they snap on somebody behind them. You put them in a lower mood and they snap on somebody behind them. Or you pull off in the car behind you, all of a sudden that cashier is more rude to that mother. And their child's in the back seat jumping around, and all of a sudden that mother snaps on the child. Says, man, shut up, sit down. And that child goes to school and gives their teacher a hard time, or they get in a fight or whatever. How long does energy flow? throughout life? How long does it flow? Even if you go back and you apologize, you know what, I'm sorry, that energy's already spread, right? That energy's already spread. The same way that if you told them, you know, it's okay, man. You know what? I really love your hair today. The same way that if you gave that woman a compliment or that gentleman a compliment, and then they turned around to the next car and they gave them a compliment. And then all of a sudden they dropped their kid off at school. They had a great conversation about how to spread love with the child in the car with them. And then all of a sudden that child goes and hugs their teacher. And then that teacher remembers, this is why I signed up to do this. You don't know how far your energy goes. You don't know how you can help somebody. And they're all you. Since everybody is you, why would you not try to help everybody? It's all you, right? Life is about perspective. There's a miracle in every moment, every single moment, right? But are you awake? Are you conscious enough to see it? Or are you just trapped in your own bubble thinking that everything out there is separate from you? None of it is. You've created it all. If there's not magic in that, I don't know what magic is. I don't know what magic is. Okay? So, the moment that you believe fulfillment is external, you exile yourself from your divinity. You hand your keys to the world and wonder why your life doesn't move. The spiritual path is the return to the throne of your own heart. To remember that everything you see outside is simply the canvas on which your inner state paints. That was a bar right there. I love that, okay? To remember that everything you see outside of you, everything that you see is simply the canvas on which your inner state paints. Okay, so one of the quotes in Reality Transurfing, reduce importance and increase intention. When you remove importance from external outcomes, you dissolve resistance. You stop worshiping the idol of someday and start dwelling in the power of now. Remove your importance of how things have to unfold to get to your desires, because it doesn't matter. You can't judge them correctly. You can always look back at your life and think of divine moments. Which part? So the spiritual path is the return to the throne of your own heart, to remember that everything you see outside is simply the canvas on which your inner state paints. Okay? So reduce importance and increase intention. When you remove importance from external outcomes, you dissolve resistance. You stop worshiping the idol of someday and start dwelling in the power of now. Reduce the importance of how things unfold, right? You can always look at past things in your life, things that you loved, things that happened out of nowhere, the best moments in your life. Then I want you to look and say, did you predict exactly how it was going to happen? Were there some things that unfolded in a way that you thought it might not be ideal in that moment, but later on, you were like, oh, it was working out all for me all along? How much faster, how much more beautiful would things unfold if instead of waiting until later to change your mind, to look at things in a more beautiful way, you actually started to enjoy the unfolding of life and the miracle that it is in every moment? This is really how you collapse realities. This is how you collapse reality. You want to understand how to collapse reality? Start looking at everything in your life as a miracle and watch how divine and beautiful life gets for you. This is the one secret, is that look at everything as if it is you. The trees are me. This painting that someone else did was me. And I just so happened to walk in a store and see it and be, I would love that. But somebody else did it. That is a miracle in itself. Somebody else did it. They made a copy of it, shipped it around the world, and I just happened to walk in a store, see it, and now it's a centerpiece of my home. That is a miracle. It's a miracle to still be able to pick up the phone and talk to your mother, talk to your father. Have kids that love you, kids that respect you, have a loving spouse, have loving friends. Be able to sit down in a nice restaurant and enjoy a coffee by yourself. My goodness, it's all a miracle. When we remove importance from external outcomes, because we do not judge correctly, just think of the nature of a human's judgment. Based on where you live, You're going to have different perspectives on which religion is right or wrong. Okay? Based on where you were born, you're going to have different opinions on what you have to do to survive. You'll have different opinions on who is right and wrong in the war, on whose opinions are right and wrong. Morality is based on location, is based on perspective. So who are you to judge right and wrong? Who am I to judge what's right and wrong? Who am I to say that this isn't unfolding perfectly? But if we go back to scripture, we will understand that thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be. Why is it divine timing? Because you say it is. Why is it working out perfectly? Because you say it is. Why is nothing working out for you? Because you say it is. Whatever you decree is what it is. So it's about who you are being through life. Are you being the person who walks through life by faith? Or are you being the person who walks through life by your limited human eyesight? This eyesight is deceptive. One of the things I used to talk about is the concept of the cyclops. Okay? It's the concept of the cyclops. If you think of a cyclops has one eye. It represents the third eye. Okay? But if you actually go and you look at an image of a cyclops, what you'll notice is that the cyclops does have two eyes as well, but they're carved out. What this represents is a being who lives solely in imagination. Okay, these were beings that made weaponry for the quote-unquote Greek gods, right? They made the staff or the thunderbolt of was it Zeus? Maybe it wasn't Zeus. I think they made the staff of Hades and Poseidon. They made their weaponry, right? So all these things represent metaphorically as somebody who lives by their internal sight. They could barely walk through reality. We see them as these clumsy beings because their two eyes are carved out. Now, why this is important from a spiritual perspective is that when we only walk through our two eyes, we might think that we're walking through reality perfectly. We have to be realistic, right? I can't gaslight myself. But reality is only reality because you see it that way. You don't see reality how reality is. You see reality how you are. Okay? And so we need our third eye open so we can pull the beautiful imagery of the divine. Okay? Even if you don't even think about it as your third eye open. Forget that. I don't really like to talk like, it's important to know, but don't think that because you don't have a quote unquote open third eye, that reduces your ability to see what you want. All this is saying is that you want to see the divinity, you want to see the beauty, and you allow that beauty to lead your steps. Right? You remove the importance from external outcomes. You see in your mind the promise that the divine placed in it, the promise of prosperity. So it doesn't matter what anything looks like in this external world. You walk by faith, the faith of your third eye, the faith of your imagination, because your imagination is God. Your imagination is God. That is the 99.99% of reality that you cannot see. You can only see 0.001% of the atom. The rest of it is information and energy. So when you look out into reality, you only see the room that you're in, but you really only see 0.001% of anything. Things are collapsing because of who you are, your beliefs, what you're seeing. Two people can look at the same thing and see completely different things. So matter is not solid. Reality is not solid. Reality is a projection, a reflection of who you are. Reality is a reflection of who you are. Two people in the same room think they're seeing the same thing, but they're seeing completely different things. Okay? So we have to trust our imagination that dwells in the 99.9. Matter of fact, your imagination dwells in the 100% because it dwells in the 0.1% too. But not only do we only see this one room, okay? Your imagination, the God within you sees the rooms you're not in, the conversations that you're not a part of. So what do you rely on more? Do you rely on your limited eyesight with your human judgment that has been shaped by the news, that's been shaped by the music, that's been shaped by propaganda, that's been shaped by church, that's been shaped by your parents' limiting beliefs, that's been shaped by the limiting beliefs that we all still have? We all still have them. Or do you trust the Creator who actually gave you that divine image in your mind? This is what walking by faith and not by sight means. It means it doesn't matter what it looks like. The God within you is perfect. So the situation must be unfolding perfectly. which is one of the mantras, one of the affirmations that I say, probably 50, 100 times a day. Don't care what the situation looks like. The God within me is perfect, so the situation must be unfolding perfectly. Must be. Okay? So we stop worshiping the idol of someday and start dwelling in the power of now. All right, so becoming the creator, manifesting from inner authority. Okay? When you stop outsourcing power, you begin to shape reality. This is not about arrogance, but alignment. Okay, Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I am God. Your I am is awareness. Your I am awareness is God. Understand that whatever you declare yourself to be, the situation to be, just be still and know that you have just allowed God to flow through that situation. God is everything, everywhere. The kingdom is within you, but everything outside of you is an outpicturing of what is within you. So when we say the kingdom is within you, all right, and everything is an outpicturing of it, okay? You're only seeing one reality, but you live in infinite realities. Consciousness is infinite consciousness. Do we understand what infinite consciousness means? Do you understand what omnipresent means? Omnipotent? That means everything. When we say reality is finished, that means everything is done. That means the moment that you hit the lottery for $1 million, the moment that you start that $1 million business, the moment that you pass away, the moment you are born, they all are occurring right now. And the God within you dwells in all of them. This is what infinite consciousness means. Infinite, omnipresent. If it's either omnipresent or it's not. And when we say omnipresent, that means everything. So everything is done. Be still and know that I am God. Know that whatever you decree, it's already done. Whatever you say that it is, just be still and say whatever you want it to be. And just be still. Be still. You don't have to conjure up some feeling of worthiness. Just know that you are worthy. I am worthy no matter what. I'm worthy no matter how I feel. I'm abundant no matter what. I'm abundant no matter how I feel. I'm abundant no matter how the situation looks. No matter what anything looks like, the God within me is perfect, so the situation is always perfect. Everything is working out for me divinely, beautifully, better than I can ever imagine. Because creation is created better than I can ever imagine it. Everything is working out for me. I don't care what it looks like. All right? Don't care what it looks like. To know I am is to activate the engine of creation. It's to live from the inside out, not the outside in. You walk through life with wonder and awe. Be like children to enter the kingdom of heaven. Walk through life with wonder and awe, knowing that it is a miracle, and return to self and declare things how you want them to be. I hope this is making sense. I hope this is clicking. I hope this is clicking. Right? Because when we start to embody this, we'll see that life is a playground. It's not a test. God's not testing you. God is perfect. God is perfect. Infinite love, infinite consciousness. This is just a perfect reflection. There's no test. God's not punishing you for anything. It's just a perfect reflection. Okay? You are not a separate observer. You are the participant, the dreamer and the dream. The one who wakes up inside the dream. Okay? From this place, manifestation is no longer about trying. You don't have to try to visualize. Visualization should be fun. You have to try to affirm. It should be fun. You're embodying a new character. You're declaring what you want to experience. You have determined what you want and I am that I am to be. In the middle of infinity, I have decided that the that I want is prosperity, and now I have declared it, and I walk through life, and I expect that it all unfolds. So now this should even give a different perspective on when people say, oh, we want to say I am because it's the present moment. There's only the present moment. There is no future. There is no past. You couldn't... You say I am because that is God's name. Because that is your name, is I am. Okay? But I am is the same as I have. It's the same as I desire. It's the same as I expect. The only difference is if you want from a state of lack. I need this so I can feel whole. Well, you've forgotten who you are. You've forgotten who you are, Goddess. If you think that you need something to feel whole, you've forgotten that you are whole. You could be nothing You could be nothing besides whole. You are God. How could you be anything besides whole? All right? To have, to desire, oh, I want that is the same as I have that. To want to have, the moment you ask, before they ask, I will answer. What does that mean? Before they ask, I will answer. To ask for something, to say I want it, is the same as saying I have it. It's the same as saying I am it. It's all the same, man. Don't get caught up in these human semantics thinking that the God within you only understands you if you say specifically I am in the present moment and act like, no. Expectation is the same as having. Because the moment that you declare it, think about it, the moment that you declare it, the Most High created this simulation so you can walk through time and receive the things that you want while also getting clarity about more things along the way. It's all fulfillment. Every moment is fulfillment. Every moment is a miracle. So boom, I have a desire. It's automatically given to me. Ask and you shall receive. Blessed is he who believes before he sees. So you believe you have it. Now boom, the path is automatically made. You have it and you're in the timeline where you're walking towards it. You just have to expect it. You walk with expectation. You don't walk with lack. You already have it. To have, to expect, to desire, to want, same shit. It's all the same. Okay? So from this place, manifestation is no longer about trying. It is about being. Who am I being? You being that divine, worthy, beautiful soul that you are. Are you walking through life with that spiritual backbone? Nah. It's a miracle, but I'll choose something different. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to see what I've been creating. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to confront who I have been being. Now I will embody someone different. I will grant to myself something different. So I see lack and I say, I don't want that anymore. Well, I want prosperity. I see that, I have been thinking about lack in this situation. I'll start thinking differently. I've given it to myself, and now I walk through. I don't react to it. It's all mine. I love it. It's divine. It's a product of me. It's like your child. Every moment is your child, birthed from within you. Every moment is the miracle of you. Okay? So it is about being, about remembering, and then about allowing. You should have to be a cheerful giver and a cheerful receiver. Okay? So a couple reflection questions. Number one, what do I believe is outside of me that I have not yet become? Do you believe those bills are outside of you? Do you think they're some solid thing? Or do you understand that you created them? In the same way that you created them. Now you can love them. You can say, okay, they just gave me an opportunity to see what I want differently. And I'll choose to embody someone different. I'm already worthy. I couldn't want something if I wasn't worthy for it. And I'll walk down the path of fulfillment, remembering who I am. And life changes instantly. Everybody changes instantly. All of a sudden, money starts showing up from places I ain't expected. People I forgot owed me money started giving me money. All of a sudden, everybody was like, money wanted to jump out of everybody's pockets and jump into mine. Who are you being? All right, where have I placed power outside myself? And this can be in all different areas of our life, in a person, in a system, in a desire. So let's think about it. What people do we place power in, all right? Do you believe that the way people treat you is an indication of them or you? And I take a pause because that's actually a question that I had to ponder about for a while. If everyone is a reflection of me, that means everyone is mirroring something back to me. Or maybe they're just giving me an opportunity to show my boundaries. Okay. Now, we can look at that multiple ways, but let me not filter this down. I ain't filtering shit for y'all. All right. We're going to get this full lesson. You never meet the same version of anyone more than once. Everyone is constantly changing, just like everything that you see is constantly changing from moment to moment. How many moments are there in a second? Infinite. How many different versions of everything are you seeing per second? Infinite. Okay? So everybody around you, They're constantly switching versions. They're the all-seeing eye looking at you saying, what do you believe? What do you expect? What do you want? This is why most people don't surprise you. You know who to give good news to and who not to. You know this person's going to react badly. This person is going to react in this kind of way. Okay? Even the people that you're in relationship with. In the beginning, it was full of love and lust, and we're mirroring that back to one another. Y'all couldn't take your hands off of each other. Then those thoughts start creeping in, and that person starts to gradually change. And then we label it as intuition. But it's really your delusion being outpictured within that person. Okay? Everybody in your life is going to be a representation of your beliefs about how you should be treated, your beliefs about what you should tolerate, what you shouldn't tolerate. Okay? So it's all a lesson. It's all a lesson. It's all just a reflection of you, which is very difficult to say in certain circumstances. I get it. Very difficult to say in certain circumstances. But it's all a reflection of us. Now, of course, there are exceptions. I want y'all to think about there are exceptions, but let me be very, very clear on that. When you descend into this reality, okay, before you start to have conscious memories, what you'll notice when you think about this is that before you really had active memories, let's say you start having active memories like 8, 9, 10. Some people remember everything, but let's talk about most people. You were getting programmed and you were having beliefs put in your mind by other people before you were even aware. Your parents were telling you how to be before you were really even awake, right? So your soul picks your parents because they give them the best opportunity to grow into the person that you want. Now, even this, let's talk about this, but also I want y'all to keep in mind, don't allow this perspective to limit anything within you. Keep in mind that this perspective is the best way that we can explain time. However, time is all happening at once. So all of your past lives are all happening right now. Everything is happening right now. So from our human perspective, this is the best way that we can explain it, or I can explain it. And also keep in mind that most downloads that people have, when I get downloads, it's not like I'm getting downloads of human language. They're feelings and knowings. It's as if someone places a book in your mind and you can activate the knowing of that information through your emotions or through, I guess, just a feeling. Okay? So peep this out. All right, so your soul stands in line and your soul determines, okay, I want to have this experience on earth. And it gets a spark from the quote unquote eternal flame or from God. This is why when you see someone who is deceased, has passed away, they've transitioned, you can tell that their light is out, their spark is out. You can look at them and tell because they don't have that light anymore. This is part of the eternal flame. What else do we refer to as the eternal flame? The Kundalini, the Holy Spirit. It's this energy that stays dormant within you that you can rise up through righteous thought, through sexual preservation, through correct eating, all these things. But that's a whole nother lecture. We got hella lectures on that on the YouTube channel. So your soul picks your parents. Some of you picked your parents because your parents had extremely limiting beliefs. And your soul knew if I can transcend their beliefs, I can transcend anything. Some of you needed one parent there. Some of you needed both. It all depends on what you needed to experience. Let me break this story down. I forgot exactly where this story comes from. It's not from a client or anything. This is like something I read about. So there was a woman who was known to just be alone, very secluded, okay, mean to everybody. She ended up having like a one-night stand with a man and getting pregnant, okay? And when she had this child, the child with special needs, but she fell deeply in love with this child. Child taught her unconditional love. And then at a young age, the child drowned. And so when this soul of this child was channeled later on, it came to find out that, hey, the only purpose, it was actually a very old soul. And the only reason it came down here was to teach this woman love. That was his purpose. All right? So your soul has a purpose. Even souls can even check out before they get here. What do we call them? Miscarriages, stillborns. So sometimes the soul's purpose is just to spark something within the parents. Okay? So everything is purposeful. Every single thing is purposeful, right? And we know what we're signing up for before we come down here, and then we descend into this reality and we forget. Now, to actually make this point though, So we come down here, and because of the traumatic experience of your soul jumping into the pineal gland of the fetus and then being pushed out this birthing canal, right? This is even what the story of Genesis is about. It's about baptism, right? So God flowed over the waters. And I believe I said that in here. No, I didn't put that in this lecture. I'll probably put it in a future lecture. All right. So your soul jumps into the pineal gland of the fetus. It animates the body. The Spirit of God flows over the womb, over the water in your mother's womb. This is your first baptism. This is the only baptism that you need. Then what happens after that? Your mother's water breaks. Boom, and you are birthed here. This is a traumatic experience for your soul. Think about it. You go from oneness with the divine in a place where all time exists right now, where the moment you're born, the moment you pass away, all happen at the same time. So I want y'all to really think about this from a soul level. You come down here, and what are you introduced to? You're introduced to concepts like longing. Because if everything happens at the same time, and now you have to go through linear time to get something, that is a foreign concept to you. Longing, the concept of loss, losing someone. There's no loss in the kingdom. This is even what the metaphorical raising of Lazarus was representing. There is no loss. There is no death in the kingdom. This is a human concept. Okay, so we're introduced to these things. Now, while your soul is still discombobulated and trying to figure out what the hell is going on, it could take a long time for you to come into the awareness of who you are. Okay? So finally, you come into the awareness of who you are 8 years later, 10 years later. But by that time, your parents have already been telling you this is how you need to act. This is what makes you a good boy, a good girl. This is what you should touch. This is what you shouldn't touch. The program is already there. And then what happens to that child? That child starts to fight back. They start to wake up. This is the same story that parents have when they're like, oh, my kid was giving me so many kisses and hugs, and all of a sudden they didn't want it anymore. The kid's fighting back. They're trying to figure out what path they're going to go on, right? Like, what is program? What is real? What isn't? Your soul starts to wake up. Boom. And then all of a sudden you get into the world and you try to figure out your way. You try to figure out your mark. So a lot of the programming that you have, a lot of the beliefs that have been instilled in you since you were a child, a lot of those things are being played out. Some of the fears that your parents have could lead to you going through some very gruesome things when you're a kid. Some grotesque things. Okay? But let's also put things in perspective, because there are certain people that go through bad things and they become a spokesperson against it, and they actually help a lot of people. So what is right and wrong? What is good and bad? From a human perspective, of course, we're going to be able to judge. Of course we can judge. We're humans. This is what we do. And we sit here and we make long think pieces on, oh, this is why this person shouldn't have done this. And people these days, that's just our holier than thou mentality. Is that we sit here and we cast rocks, right? Let he without sin throw the first rock, please, right? But this is what we do as humans. And motherfuckers will sit there and, all right, let me make a long think piece on what this other person does. But God forbid your life was made public. God forbid we got to analyze everything in your life. God forbid we were able to see all your DMs, all your texts, your bank account, all those things, right? But we like to do that to other people. So when we take a step back out of that judgment mentality and we say, okay, well, even throughout history, there are some souls that had to come to earth, and why they came to earth is because they had to be polarizing figures. We can think of some polarizing figures right now. I don't care if you think they're right or wrong. I really don't give a damn. That's not the point. The point is that some people are polarized and they say, bro, this is what I believe. Make a fucking choice. Choose a side. People choose sides. We have debates. We start talking about it. Humanity moves forward. Was it right or wrong? Was it right or wrong? We have other people that go so far as they start killing a lot of people. From our human perspective, it was right or wrong, but there's no death in the kingdom. God doesn't see death. It doesn't exist in the Most High. There's certain souls that check out in certain scenarios. There's certain souls that signed up for certain things. That should put things in a different perspective. So yeah, we can judge from a human perspective. What I'm saying is that, so I kind of went off topic, but what this was really for is that you could experience things when you're younger. or even as you grow up, that are a byproduct of programming that you received as a child when you were unconscious. Okay? So at certain point, we have to become adults and become accountable and say, you know what? It doesn't matter what the programming was. It doesn't matter what I went through. And I think this is one of the traps of therapy. And I talk to a lot of clients about this, is that sometimes therapy can give you a very, very good excuse for why you are the way that you are. Where your therapist tells you that you're an anxious, avoidant, attachment style, right? Or you went through this and that's why you're like this. Okay, cool, perfect. There's one thing, it's one thing to say, I am this way because of this, and use it as an excuse. And now, if you meet me, I have to tell you what I've been through, because if you understand what I've been through, now you can understand me. What am I actually doing in that scenario? I'm making myself a victim. I'm creating a false idol. I'm shrinking to the circumstance of the world. I'm thinking that this world is separate than me. The same thing that we talked about earlier. Okay? I'm not saying there's not certain truths to it. True is whatever you determine it to be. This is how strong your mind is. If you think that that is a prison for you, then it will be. But if you think that's something that you can transcend, guess what? You can transcend whatever, because you're divine. You're infinite with your divine ass. You know what I'm saying? You can get whatever you want. But we can't reduce ourselves to labels that other people put on us. At some point, we have to say, look, these are my behaviors. These are my beliefs. These are the outcomes that I'm getting. If I don't like the outcomes, what would I have to feel to be true? What would I have to believe to be true to feel negative about this? Now, if I understand that I created this situation, I can change it just as easily, right? We have to use that big A word, the big scary A word, accountability. It's all about accountability. Huh? So I was going to go somewhere else, but I went too far on the right. You know what I'm saying? I was going to stay down this path and I veered off to the right and I forgot where I was going to go. But I was going to say something real cold. If I remember it, I'll say it, but right now I don't. All right, number 3. What part of me still seeks to be validated by the world instead of known by the God within? Isn't that's the verse from, I can't even remember the verse from the gospel where Jesus said, dang, when you go within, you will be known. When you bring forth what is within, then you will be known. Something along those lines. I'll have to look it up. Maybe I'll add it in the notes. Okay. But what part of me still seeks to be validated by the world instead of known by God within? And why? Right. And oftentimes the why can help, but the why isn't as important as just changing it. Okay. I prefer to go down the path of, these are my behaviors. This is what I believe, and these are the outcomes I'm getting from my behaviors. If I can change the behaviors, I change the outcome, boom. That's cool, that's all I need. Now, some people want to work backwards, and that's fine, whatever you want to do. But the bottom line is that you want to start changing these behaviors to get better outcomes in your life. All right? Don't just stop at, I have these behaviors, and where did they start from? Okay, I know where they started from, now I can use a good excuse. This is what, a lot of us do, is that we meet people and we get hurt by them, and then we glorify that person. We put them on this high horse, and we become less of ourselves because of them, and then we identify as somebody that got hurt. Have you ever caught yourself telling a story about what somebody else did to you and being like, that's why I am the way I am? Okay. And often, I remember what I was going to say. You know how I was just full circle, then I forgot it again. No, I'm just playing. So have you ever caught yourself telling that story of, oh, this is why I am the way that I am? Most people, we will do that, and we will want other people to give us grace. But if somebody else came up to you and was like, you know what, I can't love you correctly. I can't be a good man for you. I can't be this woman for you. I can't do these things that you want because this other person, you know what I'm saying, they did that to me. Sorry. I'm just explaining how I am so you'll take it. You'll be like, why would I settle for that? Yet we would expect people to do that for us. A lot of people will expect other people to do it for them. We expect people to meet us where we are, but we expect them to come better than we are. Okay? Why? Why are we like this? We make exceptions to the rules for ourselves. This is why some people will glorify things that they see people doing, out in public. Men will glorify things that other men do. Women will glorify things that other women do. But if it was their son or daughter trying to date that person, now it's a completely different thing. This is one of the conversations that I have with corn, the corn sites, the explicit sites, the OnlyFans sites, right? All of us say it's no problem when it's other people doing it, right? What if it was your sister? If it was your daughter? How would you feel about that then? Like, oh no, that's different. Okay. So why is it different? Okay. Why is it different? Anyway, that's a whole nother, we had lectures on that as well. But everything is just a reflection of us, bottom line. Okay. So in closing, all right, you are not separate. You are not missing anything. Okay, you are the whole and you are the holy. You are the I am. Okay, change your conception of yourself and you will automatically change the world in which you live. Let your awareness return to unity. Let your awareness return to the inner knowing, the divine knowing that everything is God and that everything is within you. Okay, everything is within you. Okay. From that place, manifestation is not a miracle, but a law. You're just following the law. Life is the perfect reflection of you. The mirror doesn't lie. Life is going to be a perfect reflection of you, but you can use this to your advantage. You use this by constantly looking in the mirror and being aware, being conscious of what is being shown back to you, knowing that it is a miracle that you're actually able to see these blind spots within you. And now you can choose different. You can choose to be a new character. You can know that you're worthy. You can be still and know that you are God. You can decree how you want the situation to be. And then you can walk down the path of fulfillment and bliss and love and choose other things while you expect for your manifestation to unfold divinely in your life. This is your superpower, your perspective. You cannot change anyone outside of you or anything outside of you, but by changing yourself, you change everything. You change everything. Nothing is separate for you. Okay? Nothing is separate from you. So, as always, man, this document will be on YouTube. You can always check it out. You can download it. You can do whatever you want with it. And all of the lectures are on the YouTube channel. The link is in the bio. If y'all want coaching, if you need help with just figuring out blind spots, I have a Calendly link in the bio. I have different package deals on it, but I would always recommend starting with the one. I try to get y'all in, one and done. Figure out your blind spots, figure out what you need, and go about creating your life. But sometimes, we have things that we need to work on for a while. We just want to check up. So we have packages so you can save a little bit of cash on the packages. I have certain people that I talk to down there every week, right? But it's all divine. It's all divine. We're all here to help each other. Okay. How do you think one attracts bullies? So in multiple ways, right? Number one, we attract bullies if sometimes there's did I say one of two ways? It could be multiple ways. It could be multiple ways, but they are still a reflection of you. Are they a reflection of your inability to stand up for yourself? Is it a reflection of how you believe that the world is unfair to you? Is it a reflection of maybe a desire for confrontation that you're hiding? Maybe it's just this violence that is buried deep within you that you've been wanting to let out, but you haven't gotten the opportunity, and now this is presenting you the opportunity to do it. Is it a reflection of your lack of boundaries, your lack of an ability to stand up for yourself, to speak up for yourself? It could be multiple things, right? Here's the thing, right, is when it comes down to our life, we can take advice from others, right? But until we really sit down and do the studying and become the student of our reality, every single thing that we see could be a million different things, but it's always going to be a sneak peek into what we believe. right? Now the answer might not be obvious. It might take a little bit of digging, but the best person to answer it is going to be the person who's getting bullied. Okay, I'm assuming it's not you, right? Which is just my assumption. But the best person to answer that is going to be the person that's getting bullied. Right? What is it within them that is pulling this into their reality? There's certain people that go through life and they never experience bullying. Right? There's certain people that experience bullying at every turn. But why we bring those people into our life is always going to be a reflection of something within us. Right? So that was a vague answer, but that would be more of like a take some real time and really start mapping out internal beliefs. Really start mapping it out, right? Is there something within you that actually likes the confrontation? Right? Is there something within you that, feels like that is some kind of attention? Could be so many different things. So many different things. But yeah, for sure, need to think deeply about it. For sure. Yeah, the 5 whys. I'm glad you remembered that. That's fire. But yeah, the 5 whys is always a good way to map out those internal beliefs. And for anybody who's just tuning in, who's never heard me talk about it, so the 5 whys is a exercise that we use in tech when we're doing what's called a quote-unquote root cause analysis. So if there's a problem in the network, we would ask the 5 whys. So if there's a problem in your life, you can ask those 5 whys. So, okay, why did the system go down? One answer. Oh, because this and this happened. Okay, why? Why? And you continue to ask why, and by the time you get to the 5th why, or if you cannot ask why anymore, then that is the root cause. But it takes some digging, right? Because after 2, you could say, oh, I can't get any deeper, but you really could. You just have to think about it, okay? But the 5 whys is always a very, very good exercise, because oftentimes the first thing we could think, oh, it might be because of this. We'll just jump to an assumption, and that might not even be the truth, right? So you're just putting a Band-Aid on a broken bone. When you actually want to go and find the root cause of the problem, you fix that root cause, you can fix a lot of things, right? Because you typically have this one belief, this core belief, and this core belief stems out to a whole lot of things, right? So you might think that your core belief is, oh, women ain't shit. That ain't no core belief, brother. That is not a core belief, okay? So women ain't shit. Why do you believe that? Because I just struggle with relationships. Why? Well, I don't struggle with relationships, but let's pretend I'm talking as somebody else. I just struggle with relationships. Why? Well, I just feel like women want to always use me for money. Why? Well, when I didn't have money, I wasn't getting good relationships. Why? I was struggling to talk to them. Why? Oh, I don't know. I just always been shy. And so once I came into money, I figured out that's what I was going to use. Okay, cool. Boom. Let's get down to that. That's where we have to fix it. We have to actually struggle, or not struggle. We have to actually really dig deep into our beliefs. Surely this final belief of women ain't shit is not the core. So what you see is when you find the core, okay, I've struggled with women, so I've thought when I got money I would get more. That can lead to a whole bunch of different beliefs. So each of those 5 whys is a whole new belief, right? But if I just knock out the core, I can knock out all those things. Because all those beliefs just siphon off. They split off and they impact different parts of my reality. Okay? And we want to be very masterful. You want to be balanced. You want to have the reality that you want. Okay? So this is kind of what we talk about when we talk about healing. A lot of healing isn't really just doing hella work, right? It's stripping away some of those old beliefs. There might be some work to identify those beliefs, but just strip them away. You want to strip away some of that old programming. Is it really good for me to listen to all these men telling me that all these women ain't any good? Is it really good for you to be listening to all these women telling you all these men are no good? Does that match what you want? If that matches what you want and you want to be single, you want to believe women are like that or men are like that, then sure, go ahead, listen to it. But if I know that my beliefs are my reality, my expectations are my reality, I'm going to guard that shit. I'm going to guard my mind. Do not conform to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. I'm not conforming to shit I don't like. I'm not conforming to shit. No belief that I do not want to experience will I conform to. I will be transformed by the renewing of my mind. I'm going to hear it. I'm going to look at it and say, that's cute. Do I want that? No. But then I'm not going to accept that as true. But so often we'll have two experiences. You got dumped at 16, and you got dumped at 21. And all of a sudden you think all women ain't shit. All of a sudden you think all men ain't shit. And then you hear somebody on the internet that reinforces that belief. And you can just feel the anger coming off of them. You can just feel the bitterness, and it speaks to a part of you that has felt hurt, that has felt unseen. And you internalize that. And now all of a sudden you're walking around with somebody else's belief, and that belief is expanding, and it's expanding, and it's growing, and it's crystallizing. And now everyone that you meet has to, just like the all-seeing eye, right? They have to prove you right. It doesn't matter what you hope. If you expect that all women ain't shit, it doesn't matter how much you hope that one is different. They will all prove to you that you're right. Even if you meet a good woman. And ladies, if you think all men ain't shit, even if you meet a good man, guess what? You're going to find a way to fuck it up. It's just how it is. This is how reality operates. It ain't about what you hope. It's about what you believe. What do you actually think is true? Who are you being? Reality bends to who you are being. That would be crazy for me to be like, man, no women are good, but I hope one proves me otherwise. Vibration doesn't even make sense. Your beliefs are reality. You don't see reality as it is. Reality is never as it is. Reality is always changing. It is just you. We can live in the same city, in the same building, experience the same type, go out and meet the exact same women. Matter of fact, I could have a biological twin. I could have a biological twin, identical twin, okay? Live in the same place. We go out and talk to the exact same women, but I have completely different beliefs than him. And because of our beliefs, we live in two completely different realities. I believe women ain't shit. He believes women can't get enough of them. He always has a woman at the crib. I'm always lonely, right? Like, two completely different realities in the exact same place. We're the quote unquote exact same person. Your beliefs, you can't, your reality, what you see is going to tell you everything about your beliefs. What do you experience in life? This is accountability. If you're not accountable enough to take ownership for what you're experiencing, your reality can't change. If you think everything is outside of you, your reality can't change. But we should call each other back into our divinity. You're not a victim of anything. You can wake up to a new reality tomorrow. Fuck tomorrow. You can make a decision right now, and your phone could start ringing in 5 minutes. You could be in another reality. You can walk out of your crib right now, walk outside and be in another reality. You can close your eyes, blink, and say, I am prosperous. Open your eyes and be in another reality. All of a sudden, everything can change. Everything can change. All right, y'all. All right. I appreciate you. Thank y'all for joining, man. Let's see, y'all have anything else y'all want to talk about? I got time tonight. We can talk about whatever. Yeah, I can do a recap for sure. And while I'm doing this recap, if y'all have any questions, just drop them in whatever chat. Matter of fact, let me get the Instagram chat up. See if I missed anything. Of course I did. Perfect. Good ass questions. All right, I'll answer those. So for a recap, what we talked about is, I had a client reach out, and what we talked about is, so one of the things that I'll always tell men is, if you really want to start testing your power, start actually living by laws. Let me turn this light off, man. My bad. All right. One of the things that I tell men, and I'll tell everybody this really, but one of the passages in scripture, thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be. Okay. Meaning you should be going through life and saying how you want things to work out. Most people will walk into situations, they will experience the situation, they will react to things that they don't like. They will get out of that situation, they will talk shit about the bad things, talk great about the good things, and then they will just go on about their life, just being reactionary. Before you walk into places, I want you to decree how you want it to go. I want this to be a divine day. I want to have beautiful service at this restaurant. I want to have a nice meal with this beautiful woman. Okay. I want to give a big tip at the end. I want to have great service. I want my food to be delicious. Okay. So you decree a thing. So one of the things that I've constantly challenged men to do is, before you go to the club, I want you to just say, okay, a woman is going to approach me and she's going to buy me a drink. And if you are bold, say a woman is going to approach you and buy a drink for you and your homeboy. Okay. And why I do this is because, first of all, if I told women to do that, I tell women to do a different thing, to manifest flowers, receiving flowers. So why I do this with men is because if I did it with women, first of all, any man could buy you a drink, so you might not think it's real. But the interesting thing about this for men is, when a woman comes up and she does get you this drink, she's going to give you a great excuse. She'll use something like, oh, we're on a bachelorette party, and one of the items on the list was buy a drink for a random man that you were attracted to, and then all of a sudden you'll get her number, and it'll just seem like, oh, I didn't manifest this. It was coincidence. But it wasn't. You decreed it and it shall be. Okay? So what this guy did is he used a completely different approach. So his letter was, I've been trying to apply what I've learned about manifestation. There's this woman I'm really interested in, and it feels like she doesn't even notice me. I've been visualizing, staying positive, and working on embodying confidence, but nothing seems to shift. So the importance of this is the inner story that we're telling. Yes, we can affirm that things will happen. Yes, we can visualize that things will happen. Yes, we can embody positivity. But if the story that we're telling is, it feels like she doesn't even notice me, then what we're doing is we're seeing that as separate. The story that we're telling still is separate. And so all we did is we changed the story from that to, I just haven't seen her noticing me yet, but I know that she's been noticing me. Okay, that's simple change in the story. You just don't see it, but she's been noticing you. And so now they're actually dating, all from a simple changing of the story. So today's topic was, you can't change what you feel separate from. We go through life and we chase things like, we chase God. Okay, we chase validation. We chase all these things, and when we see things that don't look quote unquote right in our life, we can start to shrink to the size of that thing. When all of these things outside of you are just divine manifestations from within you. They're miracles. So when we go through life and we start to look at everything as a miracle, what you'll notice is that when negative things are projected from within you and they show up in your reality, if you react as if you don't like them, because everything has a vibration. If I react negatively, like I don't want something to it, well, then it has to come back into my reality. But if I look at everything as a miracle, I'm not even on that vibration of the thing. So now I look at it as a miracle still. I just choose what I want differently, and that thing has to fade away because we don't match. We don't resonate. We're not magnetized towards each other anymore. Okay, so this is the power that you have as in looking at everything as a miracle. But then we went even deeper, and we talked about, since everything is within you, the moment that you start thinking of things as separate, it puts you in this mindset of wanting to shrink yourself to that thing, right? We want to suppress these things outside of us. We want to say, oh, no, I don't want to look at the bills right now. They're too high. But these are just you. You look at them, you understand that this is a miracle that I could even create to act like this, but you don't react to it negatively. You just choose to embody prosperity, and you understand that because I've embodied prosperity, because I've had this desire of prosperity, because God is within me, I cannot separate myself from the divine, that I know that everything is the perfect unfolding towards it, no matter what it looks like. Because the only part of us that judges things as good or bad is the human part of us. Because as humans, that's what we like to do. We like to sit around and judge other people's lives. We like to go viral by talking about other people's lives. We like to judge what other people are doing. Okay? But all of this comes from where we're born, how we were brought up. Right? Based on where you're born, where you were brought up, based on what schools you went to, you have different opinions of right and wrong, of good and bad. This isn't a universal system. Okay? You think certain parts or certain opinions, certain religions are better based on where you lived, where you were brought up. You think certain things are right or wrong to do based on what you had to do to survive. Two different classes will have two different opinions of what is acceptable and what isn't. Okay? And then we went even further and we talked about, that's really the gist of what we talked about. Let's think of it. Was there anything else that really needed to be yeah, that I guess that's what we really talked about. Oh man, my bad, y'all. Let me open up the comments. Yeah, okay. Is it true that more action is not more results? It's very true. When we talk about reality creation, what we'll realize is that action is actually the lowest form of manifestation. What is the real reason behind when people start working through things and they're like, well, I have to work hard and be disciplined over a long period of time and then things will appear? Why? Why is it like that? Well, because if you work on something for long enough, you start to believe that you deserve it and are worthy of it eventually. And once that clicks within your consciousness, all of a sudden, all those things are added unto you. But if you actually took the reverse approach and you sought first the kingdom within you and you gave it to yourself, you already knew that you were worthy and you understand that you don't have to work to be worthy, then all of a sudden you can get a lot of things quicker. So no, hard work does not equal faster results. I mean, we can look out in the real world and see that. There are some people that we consider quote unquote overnight successes. They just boom, blow up. And there's certain people that don't. Some people take a long time, some people don't. So it's about your consciousness. It's about what you believe that you deserve. And it's about what you're actually trying to accomplish. What are you trying to get? Okay, all those things play a role in what you do receive. Okay. Some people want to be famous, big, right? And because they have the consciousness for it, they can immediately jump into that reality. Some people don't, right? Some people want to have millions of dollars. They can work and they can get that. Some people, it takes a long time to do it because they don't really believe that they're worthy of it. They believe worthiness is some feeling. Okay, so they're working down the path and they think that working hard will give them eventually the worthiness of getting it. And finally, when it clicks that, oh, I've been working hard enough, which is some just arbitrary, made up illusion in their mind of some future that may or may not come. When it finally comes, then boom, all of a sudden there's like a switch that flips and their money pours in. They'll be like, oh, it just all poured in overnight, right? But it was really just them working towards the worthiness. This is what discipline is. Okay, but you can be disciplined mentally and give yourself that worthiness right now. And understand that worthiness is not a feeling. It's just a knowing. Okay. Yeah, for sure. Tips to listen to your intuition. Ooh-wee. Okay. I'm pausing because I want to go on a really long spiel on this. But I say the same thing every time I talk about intuition. So when we talk about intuition, the first thing to understand is what is the difference between intuition and programming, or intuition and trauma. Okay? So when we think of intuition, you'll think of that still voice within you that is leading you towards the right thing. Yeah, if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. But even more than that, right? So, like I was saying earlier, sometimes we can confuse delusion with intuition. We can create a scenario in our mind where we think someone's doing us wrong. And by the time we find out that they are, it's really that we manifest the situation because that is the version of them that we had to pull into our reality. Our beliefs had to crystallize into fact, and it led to us actually seeing them as the version of them that we saw mentally. Okay, so we have to be careful on what is intuition and what is just your delusion being made manifest. Okay, when I think of intuition, okay, if you want to talk about this, let's talk about emotions for a second. Your emotions are basically a filtering of your thoughts and beliefs at the moment being given to you in some kind of emotional guidance system, right? If you feel good about something, it's typically because you feel like the power of or the energy of the Most High is flowing through you. If you feel quote unquote negative about something, it's typically because you're remembering yourself incorrectly, because you're not in alignment with the God within you. Now, it's a very basic way to think about it. Very basic. Where does this get complex? Your intuition is tied to your solar plexus. Your solar plexus energy center, which is your gut. When you think of your gut is the center of intuition. Your gut is a brain. This is why they call it a gut feeling about certain things. Now, what throws off your solar plexus? Food. When we think of the solar plexus, why it's called solar or sun, is because we refer to this center as the place that could burn fat in the body. Okay, if your solar plexus is online, you're watching what you eat, all these things, you're burning through fat. One of the purposes of fat is it stores toxins so it doesn't get released in the bloodstream. Another purpose of fat is that it actually stores trauma and programming. So if your solar plexus is off, which is why there's always shit being placed in the food, but if your solar plexus is off, this actually holds you back from your intuition. So a lot of people who think that they're moving off intuition, they're just moving off of old programming, off of old trauma, right? Old delusion. They have experienced something in the past, and because they've experienced it and they've held on to it, okay? Now they constantly outpicture that thought. They constantly live in the past, and they hope that this person is different, but they expect the same. Well, we talk about hope and expectation. Hope is completely different than expectation. I want you to expect, don't hope, expect that things are working out in the way that you want them to. So when we expect people are going to do us wrong because we've been with all these situations, doesn't matter if we want them to do better, if we hope they'll do better, the world bends to your expectations. So then we get out that situation thinking, oh, it was just my intuition. I should have listened to it before. And now you get a shorter and shorter leash for everybody. Everybody after gets this shorter leash, but a lot of it is tied to programming. It's tied to old trauma. Now, how do we get more in tune to it? You have to be able to sit in the stillness with yourself. What you'll realize if you actually get into meditation is that around the 30-minute or 45-minute, maybe an hour mark, you will have silence. Some people say, oh, you can't silence your thoughts. You absolutely can. Right, so if you get to this point after about 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour, where all of a sudden your thoughts go silent and you're just still, what you'll realize is that after that, you'll start getting answers to things. There might be questions that you have in your life that you've never had the answer to before, that all of a sudden you just get an inner knowing of what to do. Do this. Do that. Maybe you should check this out, right? And what you'll have to do over time is you'll start listening to that and building trust, and that voice will get louder and you'll start to know it more. This is the difference between intuition and your delusion, your trauma, is that your intuition is going to speak to you in the silence. It's going to speak to you in the stillness. Be still and know that I am God. Another way to think about this is when you're still, you can actually hear that voice of the divine within you, your intuition. So intuition doesn't slap you around. If you ignore it long enough, it becomes too quiet for you to hear. But when you start trying to tap into it, you sit in meditation without a purpose. Don't sit in meditation with some intuition. Just sit in meditation to listen, to hear what is brought to you. And set a timer for an hour. See if you can sit down for an hour. Set off some space where you don't have anything to do and fight against those thoughts that are telling you, check the phone, scratch your knee, go check out the refrigerator. All right? Just bring yourself back to the silence. Just focus on your breathing and see how deep you can get. All right? And then eventually you will start to hear that voice within you, which is your intuition. It'll become louder and it'll speak to you all through your life. You'll get feelings of doing things. Take this exit. Don't go down that path to work. Take a different route to work today. Check the news later. It was an accident on the way that you were going to go. Right? Maybe you wouldn't have been in it, but maybe it was just delayed you from getting to work on time. And you've been trying to get to work on time because you got a promotion coming up. Right? So all these things are a byproduct of tuning into your intuition. And absolutely, yeah, fasting. Right. So what fasting does, like from a biological perspective, is you go on a water fast or a dry fast, you get into ketosis. And so your body will switch from using, sugars to actually burning fat. And when it burns fat, it releases ketones. And those ketones go to your brain and they're a cleaner, more efficient way for your brain to operate. What also happens when you hit ketosis is you get more clarity. So of course, I'm just saying that from a biological perspective because it explains the spiritual perspective. Because there's always a spiritual and a physical nature to everything. Everything is multidimensional. Okay, so when you get this clarity of mind because you're in ketosis, okay, you can also get this clarity of mind just from eating, right? Or not eating, from fasting. So your meditations get deeper. Whenever I get into ketosis, I love being in it because it's like the thoughts in your mind just start going away. It's as if you've ever had a trip, okay, on the plant medicine, what you'll notice is one of the first things that happens is your brain goes quiet. It goes silent. That inner voice that's in your mind that's always yapping, that's always saying this and that. You look over the balcony and it's like, jump. And you're like, whoa, chill out. Right? That voice just goes away. It gets completely silent. It's so peaceful. This is one of the benefits of fasting, is that you can get to that state where your internal dialogue becomes so quiet, man, so divine. And so then it's easier to tap in meditation, tap into your intuition. Also, when you think about the food that you eat, why you also want to not eat very close to bedtime is because when you go to sleep, what happens is your body uses a lot of energy to break down your food. And if your body's using all this energy to break down your food, then your soul can't actually liberate itself from your body while you're asleep and travel the astral realm and different realms. Because what your soul does, your soul can actually leave your body and go travel, talk to your ancestors, talk to your spirit guides, all right, talk to your family. It can clear up issues that you have with other people. Your soul can do a whole lot of things, but when you always have food in your stomach and all of your energy is on consuming that food, then you can't do that. And you'll also notice that if you eat too close to bed, you'll dream less. Your dreams will be less vivid. You have less dreams. Your dreams might be in black and white instead of color. You might only remember certain portions of it. But once you start clearing up your diet, your dreams will get more vivid. And dreams are an outpicturing of your subconscious mind. Your mind will protect you from a lot of things, right? So you won't even remember dreams if you're not supposed to remember it. So what happens is while you're asleep, there are going to be certain aspects of yourself that are outpictured as different individuals or things in your dream. It'll allow you to confront yourself, to learn things that you need, to take lessons. So you might have a dream 50 times, but your mind's like, oh, you're not ready to receive this dream, so you just don't remember it. And then the time that you actually do remember it, it's important. Okay? So if your body is not clean enough to where you're dreaming, well, then you're going to miss out on a lot of lessons. You're not going to be able to learn certain things as fast as you could with dreams. Now, what question could arise from that? How do you interpret dreams? Well, that's going to be very individual to you. You know, I this is my personal belief, and just take it if you agree, leave it if you don't. But your dreams are very specific to your subconscious. Your subconscious. So how could somebody else interpret my dream? You don't know my subconscious. You know your perspective, right? And we all have a different perspective, right? We don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. So you're seeing your dream as you are. You can explain your dream to somebody. It'd just be like explaining a memory to someone. How do you explain a memory to somebody? A memory, a desire that you have in the future, you could explain it, but never as it's pictured in your mind. So maybe people can interpret dreams. I think you could probably interpret general messages, maybe a general theme or something based on, if you know me, this is what it could mean. But the best interpreter of your dream is going to be you. It's going to be you 100%. It's all you. It's always you. You feel me? What's good, my brother? What's good? Yeah. So my thoughts on the Akashic Records? I have lots of thoughts about them. Yeah, I've experienced it. When I experienced it, it was like, when I saw the Akashic Records, it was like a tree. It was a tree that was so intimidating that imagine a tree that as wide as before I get into that, yeah. So when we talk about the Akashic Records, we can think of that as consciousness. It's just a memory, a record of everything, every thought, every memory, everything that you've intended to happen and that has happened, right? Every single reality. And so this memory is always expanding because consciousness is always expanding and we're always adding to it. Now, people can travel into the Akashic Records for you. They can bring back messages that could help you. You could travel in them as well. Me, you know what's interesting about things like this is I always had an interest in a lot of spiritual topics, but my interest was more so trying to control my reality. So it's one thing to just kind of seek that information. That information is good. It's very important, but I'll just leave it at that. That information is good, it's important. When I saw the Akashic Records, it was like, imagine a big tree where every branch is a different point of consciousness. Okay, so I have a point of consciousness that's a branch, and every lifetime is another branch off of that. Okay, and then every intention is like a leaf on that branch. And there are certain leaves that are blooming and large. There are certain leaves that are small, right? But this tree is always expanding. So it's always just huge, right? It's the size of infinity. And it's the size of infinity. It's intimidating. It's like the first time. So that's one of the only times that I've truly been intimidated by something I saw. It was just too much. And I was like, damn, if this is all that infinite consciousness knows, this is too much. I can't be around this anymore. But one of the other times that I felt that way was when I experienced the quote-unquote all-seeing eye, right? And I experienced that in one of my first mystical experiences where basically I was shot through this void, this massive void, where I saw there was a single point of consciousness that expanded into two. It expanded into positive and negative. People say, oh, I want to choose between positive and negative. So it created a third point, which was the observer. And it created this triangle, which was the all-seeing eye. And then from that point of reality, of being able to choose positive or negative, it just started expanding for what felt like billions, what felt like eternity. And planets were born, stars were born, civilizations were rising and falling. The galaxy, everything was just being put together with so much intention and so much precision that it was too much. I just couldn't take it. I didn't know if I wanted to cry or scream. It was like every emotion was just in me about to explode. But that trip was so profound because that's what really brought me into astrology, was seeing how intentional every star was placed. Everything was placed. And then seeing the earth being formed and seeing different civilizations rise and fall on the earth, seeing other planets coming to help us and hide. It was crazy, right? But it ended with me being in the hospital with my mother and father. And I remember how they've told me about my birth when I was younger, but I was actually able to experience it. I experienced being born, and I looked at them and I could just feel their love, and I felt like, oh, this is perfect. I chose the right people. I chose the right souls for me. I just remember being like, this is cool. And then I grew up and I was back my age, and then I gave birth to myself. And I looked at myself and I fell in love with myself. Right? It was one of the first. It was a very profound experience. It took me months to really come to terms with it. And there's still parts of it that I could not explain. The whole traveling through the universe and seeing everything being created was still something that I never want to experience again. But it was words fall short. Words fall short. Words fall drastically short. But I've had some interesting experience. I've had experience where I've been getting like surgery done on me by these other entities. I've had battles I've had very interesting experiences. But yeah, the Akashic Records is just everything. It's just everything. It's the past, present, the future is everything. But also keep in mind that the past and the future are just thoughts. So they're changing as well. So you think of these records as something that's always changing, because it's the same thing as somebody that's doing like a tarot reading on you, right? They can talk about the timeline you're in right now, but you can change that shit like that. Right? You can change where you're going right now. I can check out of what you're saying and I can go somewhere else. So even if you think of your past and your future, sure, they happened, but who you are right now changes your past. Who you're aware of being right now. This is why the present moment is so powerful. Even when we talk about things like manifestation, is that right from this point of consciousness, from right now, everything is happening. Past is just a thought, just like the future. I can change the future thoughts. I can change my past thoughts. So right now, if I believe that I'm prosperity, if I believe that I'm divine right now, you're going to start relating to past events differently. So the past is always changing. If I believe that everything's working out for me, I'm going to start relating to the future differently. So it's changing. The timelines I'm in are changing. What I experience is changing. But if I fall prey to a victim mentality, then all of a sudden I think of the past differently. I think of the future differently. So these things are always changing. This is why it's important to understand that everything within me is only what I see. It's reality is only, I'm reality. Reality is only my perception. So that's one thing that the Akashic Records taught me as well. That took me a long time to understand. So shit, everything is changing. Always. It's never still. Okay? Someone could tell you that this is going to happen to you. It's like a doctor can tell you only have 3 months to live. Who determines if he's right or wrong? You do. You're the one who determines that. Right? Based on if you buy into it, if you walk towards that with faith, because we think faith is just always good. If you walk towards anything with faith, it's going to happen. All right. So if you walk towards that 3 months with faith that it's gonna end, shoot, it will. But you're always changing timelines. You can immediately say, not me, not your boy, and pop up out of that timeline, man. So I experienced the records without, and I've heard some people say it looks like a library. I've heard, but that goes. If you think it was, that's what it was. But I've heard some people say it's like a big hallway, a big library. We got to also keep in mind when it comes to those things that just like in scripture, it says that, the Most High showed up to Moses as a burning bush. It might not show up to you like that. It might not show up to me like that, right? Show up to something that makes sense to me. Even when we talk to our ancestors or when people have like these quote, imaginary friends when they're younger, right? The things that I used to see when I was younger, they were a lot more friendly looking than they look these days, right? But it's also just an out picture of your consciousness. So what you're ready to experience, you'll see. What you can handle, you will see. All right. Even on shrooms, right? Or when you're on the plant medicine, I truly believe that plant medicine is very kind. It's very kind. It only gives you what you can handle. Now, we might have to take a deep breath and walk towards it. But it's going to give us what we can handle based on our consciousness. Your mystical experiences, even life, reality, gives us what we're conscious of having. So we can all receive things very, very differently. Very, very differently. One of the first times that I saw just a random story that you just reminded me of is I remember having a dream when I was first getting into the spiritual path. I had this dream. And I walked into this dark room, and it was me and myself. It's like me and my higher self, and I walked into this room. It was pitch black, but I could just feel that there were things around, like shelves and tables. It was like an old cobweb-filled storage unit. And I remember just knowing to go somewhere, and I picked up this symbol. It was the eye of Thoth, the eye of Ra, the eye of Horus. Whichever one is the right one. Right. And I remember when I picked it up, it just was light and it illuminated the darkness. It illuminated that room. And I had never seen this symbol before. And so I woke up and I was doing all this research because I was trying to figure out, okay, what was it? And I realized it was the eye. And I was like, why the fuck would I have that dream? Why did that? Does it make sense? Do I need to carry that around? And so I remember getting that symbol and carrying it around. But then I came into the realization later on, because this is the purpose of the story. The purpose of the story is that everything is multidimensional. So you might have one lesson that you experience from your consciousness today, but just like you can read a book and you can get a new lesson from the book every time you read it, right? Was the information not there before? No, it was there before. Your consciousness was just ready to receive it later on. This was the same kind of way that I saw this eye. It was almost like, and this is one of the things that I always talk about in lectures, is that there's certain points in your life where you're in the darkness and you cannot see shit. And the only thing that can illuminate the darkness is your faith, is your imagination, is you actually starting to create that vision within you, co-create with God and illuminate the darkness through your own self. Right? And then you can walk out the darkness. So this is one of the lessons that came out of that dream later on. But one thing about dreams, man, I would highly recommend, if you're having dreams or trips even, is to journal them. Even if you have to do the trip after, because I know I tried to journal a couple trips and I think I'm writing down some profound shit. And then when I actually come back to consciousness and I look back, it just says like, I am love 3 times. And I'm like, damn, I thought I was writing down some profound shit. And I just wrote 3 words the same 3 times, right? But you should journal as much detail as you can in those trips or in those dreams, and see if, maybe if you read it later on, right? Like a book, maybe a couple months later, couple years later even, you might get new insights that actually pertain to this stage of life. Because keep in mind, right, like the past and the future, you're always creating them from this now moment. So there are going to be certain things in your dreams that resonate with you in this moment for the past and in this moment based on the future that you're headed towards. All right, so it's something to think about. Yeah, I was in there like, oh my God, I know I'm finna write some profound shit. And I said, I am love. I was like, come on, bruh. I appreciate you, man. You have a blessed night. Have a blessed night. If we don't ask for a sign, how do we decipher synchronicities and act upon them? Well, I was going to think of some profound way to say it, but you are the synchronicity. You are the sign. You know, this is why all of a sudden when you start looking for signs, you see them everywhere. Because you are the sign, all right? I mean, now, next time you go into meditation, this is what you could do. This is what I constantly do, is I'll say something along the lines of like, okay, I think who really got me into this with meditation was Dr. Joe Dispenza. Because at the end of some of his meditations, he'll say this. So say, ask infinite consciousness that, you know, if you were able to touch infinite consciousness and you were able to change your reality and give you a sign that's obvious and it's in love and it's something that stands out to you. So I did that and get signs. But what I'll do is I'll randomly, just throughout the day, think of something and be like, okay, give me a sign that I'm on the right path. Sometimes I will even ask for specific things. When the story that I told maybe a week or two ago was when I was driving and I asked for the sign of the pink car. And I was driving, I was just like, you know what, God, you know, if everything is really working out, right, let me see a pink car. And I'm in traffic, ass to front traffic, right? Traffic was jammed up. And all of a sudden, I just forgot about it. And I look up and on the overpass, so the car was like, is that pink? At first it looked purple. When I got closer, it was pink. And I immediately was like, oh shit. And I was like, no, that's not clear enough. Give me another sign. Be clear this time. Right? Because oftentimes we want to speak to the God within you as if you're speaking to yourself. You speak to your ancestors as if you're speaking to yourself. Because it is you. You don't have to come with reverence all the time. Heavenly Father, I just ask that you know what I'm saying, with your hands crossed. God is always listening to everything, ready to prove. The truth is always trying to prove to you that it's true. All right, so I was like, nah, it's not clear enough. Give me another sign. And so I'm in traffic, where I'm going like 10 miles out. This is back-to-back traffic. But all of a sudden, the lane to the left clears, and this pink, beautiful car pulls up. I was like, okay, cool. I mean, out of nowhere, I had just passed an exit, and I was looking around, didn't see it. And then for it to just show up on my left side like that, I was like, okay, cool. I got you. So sometimes it's just as simple as asking. But I also believe that we are the synchronicity in life. You are the sign that you need to know everything is working out. It's how do you relate to everything in your life? Do you tell the story that everything is working out? If you tell the story that everything is working out, it has no choice but to. That thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be. All right, but that is my answer. All right. Now here's the thing also. When we talk about acting upon synchronicities, let's be very clear. There's never anything for you to do. There's always something that you can do, but there's nothing for you to do. If you want to know if you are in alignment, if you are doing things that are quote unquote, what did they call it? Something action, inspired action, okay? If you want to know that you're actually taking inspired action, what state of being are you in? What state of being are you in? Are you in the state of being of doing this because you believe you have to force something to happen? Or are you in the state of just doing something because you want to do it? Because you're doing it from the fulfillment of love, right? Or are you just trying to force? When you're trying to force things, you know what you're also saying? You're saying that things are separate from you. You have to go out into that world outside of you that is more real than the world within you. And you have to force things to happen. You have to force things to bend to your will. Instead of giving themselves to yourself within and saying, okay, I know it's mine. The path is already naturally laid out. It doesn't matter what I do or don't do. It's going to come to me. So I'm just going to do what I think is best now with love. And that is, it could be taking a nap at that moment. It could be going and working out at that moment. It could be going and doing some work, doing some study at that moment, right? Now, we're not supposed to be lazy, of course, right? But you know what the righteous path is. You know what that thing that you quote unquote should be doing is. Okay, even if you want to make more money, but you need to research how to make more money, you know to do that. But if you're really in alignment, you really don't even have to do that. Those things just fall into your lap. You are the magnet, right? Everything is within you. They're unfolding from within you. Okay? They're unfolding from within you. Because you are the synchronicity. That's why you're seeing the signs. You see the signs because you are the synchronicity. You are the sign. You're breathing. You're walking through life. You opened your eyes this morning. You are the sign that everything is working out. It's the only sign that you need. All right? Everything is working out for you. You just get a little extra confirmation. Universe throwing a little sprinkle on top of the ice cream. Giving you some 222s. Some tasty twos, man. Just some sprinkles on top of the ice cream. Showing you that you are in divine alignment. But you don't need them. You don't need to see anything to know you're in alignment. You're in alignment because you know you're in alignment. You're in alignment because you say you are in alignment. You are in alignment because you assume right now that you are in alignment. All right? You are in alignment. Let's see. What else I want to talk about, man? Man, y'all, you know what? Magnetism is divine. I would say be careful what you wish for, but I'm not gonna say that to y'all. I'm gonna say enjoy. When you start stepping into the knowing of who you are, and you start walking through life as the divine God, the divine goddess that you are, and you start seeing everything work out, and you start looking at everything as a miracle, and even when things don't look right, you start saying, it's all working out perfectly because I've decreed it to be so, because it has to be. I no longer am moved by what the external world looks like. When things start getting very, very good for you, all the women that you want start showing up, all the men that you want start showing up, all the money just shows up from all these different places, and you just become this cheerful receiver that's getting all these things and saying, oh my God, thank you. You're not turning stuff down, you're saying, thank you. I know that you see the God within me. I know that you are just showing me that I am God, right? When you start getting all these things, because you're already getting them, or you're on that path to getting them right now, it's all unfolding for you. Enjoy it. Savor it. Enjoy every moment of it. This is what you're supposed to do. Enjoy every moment of it. Hell, enjoy every moment right now. It's all a miracle right now. It's just so beautiful to get messages from clients, right? And they're just telling me all these things that are happening. Manifesting is not, it shouldn't be work. It is your birthright. Having the life that you desire is your birthright. You deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. You deserve to live the life that you want to live. You deserve to have the life that you want to have. You deserve to experience the things that you want to experience. You deserve to walk down the path of fulfillment and know everything is working out. You deserve to be still and know that I am God. You deserve that. Savor it, right? You can start this right now. You don't have to wait for anything. You don't have to wait for another video. You don't have to wait for meditation. You can literally right now start to look at all of the miracles in your life at every moment and stay conscious. Start seeing nothing as separate. And then you can allow all the things that you want to be added unto you. You deserve it. I want this for all of you. I see this for all of you. Matter of fact, that's where we're going to end it right here, man. I see you all as divine. I see you all as in alignment with everything that you want. You will have everything that you want. You deserve to have everything that you want. Everything that you want is already here. You are walking down the path, and those things are being revealed every single moment. Keep your eyes open to the beauty around you, to the divinity around you. Right? Just be still and know that you are God, and allow everything to be added unto you. God already knows what you want. Once you start walking through life knowing that you are in the middle of a miracle, everything that you want is just going to be given to you anyway. You don't even really want things. You just want to feel like you are seen. You just want to feel like you're taken care of. And you are. Right? But I see you all perfect, man. I see you all as the gods and the goddesses that you are. Okay, stay divine, stay beautiful. All right? And y'all have a very, very, very blessed night. Well, I appreciate that. Oh yeah, everything is already here. I feel you. All right, y'all, man. Y'all stay beautiful. Okay, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace out.